And the reason why it's stressful is because, I mean, you're inspecting your biggest purchase, and there may be some big stuff come up. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk Real Estate. My name is Donovan Johnson. I'm with Coldwell Banker Ingle Safari.
My name's Scott Werner. I'm with the Capstone team, brokered by EXP. And today we're going to talk about the hidden timeline. It's a secret. What really happens from accepted offer to closing. I mean, look, finding the house is one thing. Getting it to the closing table is completely different.
So today we'll be talking about that timeline of in between the initial accepted offer and everybody smiling at the closing table.
Yeah, because no deal is done until the ink is actually on the page. Once your offer is accepted, that clock starts. Tick, 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 tick.
And first step, depending on if it was a competitive multiple people, you probably have some type of earnest money deposit to put down.
Yep. Next, the lender is updating documents, getting you pay stubs, your bank statements, your tax returns, everything ready to go for your lender to say, hey, you're actually ready to go to buy this house.
And it's important to not delay and to have open communication, because this is the part of the deal that almost starts your heartbeat and allows you to know that, hey, we are serious, and hey, they are financeable. Hey, let's keep it going.
Yeah, sellers. Slow buyers are not always bad buyers, but it does mean you need to monitor them closely. Hey, just keep up with them. Just a little ring.
What's cool is that, so I have a couple preferred partners, but I've done some work with different people just on purpose to try and just get a better feel of the industry and how different mortgage companies run their business. And a lot of them now have this cool stuff where they'll update you, has applications are submitted, has approvals are sent out, has underwriting is done step by step. So I love being able to get the email that my buyer or client's getting to the whole time.
Yeah. Hey, phase 2 of this whole process is the inspection period. That's usually a stress zone.
And the reason why it's stressful is because, I mean, you're inspecting your biggest purchase, and there may be some big stuff come up. There may not be. And everybody has a horror story probably and have some type of uncle or somebody that, da-da-da-da-da. So you're dealing with more than just the individual. You're dealing with ideals and certain expectations that they maybe shouldn't have, and that's why we're there to help them break it down.
Inspectors find everything. Guess what? That is their job. That is what you're paying them to do. So when they find everything, and it might be oh, well, why? You're paying them to do the exact thing that they did.
Is there a rumor that you were an inspector?
It's just a rumor. It's false, though.
So if I call Roland...
No, we're not calling Roland McCormick with house call. No.
Were you in CE hours a little bit ago to keep your license, or was that something else? Are you getting your broker license, or is that your inspector license?
Look, we're just not talking about it. Yes, I do have my inspector license, but we don't say
Scott, so wait till it's middle of the summer, then call him to crawl around your attic with little crawl space.
Nope.
As you can tell, he's every bit of not 6'3", 6'2".
This is around there.
Big boy.
Look, that's why I got out of it.
But look, let's talk about what happens during inspection week.
Yep.
So, boom, you go under contract, you submit your earnest money if it's applicable to your situation. You call an inspector, they get it scheduled out, they have the inspection. After the inspection, usually about 3-4 hour time period, the buyer is going to go walk through with the inspector. I like being there with the inspector to be able to ease people's minds.
Yep.
And then once you see the inspection and you're like, you know what, I want to continue with the house, then it goes to negotiations, because now you have to say, usually people ask for credits. Sometimes people submit it and say, I want everything done. But a lot of the times we just agree to a number, and you can't advance on the deal without having your inspection response fully filled out and everybody saying, yes, we're satisfied. And usually with repairs, the language in the contract is 5 days before closing, everything needs to be done. You could say sooner, especially if it's some major stuff you want done, but for the most part, you have around 5 days to go and check and basically re-inspect it yourself.
Yeah, and we've talked about this multiple times. No home is perfect, not even new construction. Inspectors find issues in new construction.
Very much so. So I had a buddy of mine who had a new construction home and said he didn't want an inspection. But after about 2 weeks of me telling him he's tripping, I just wound up ordering it for him. Wound up finding 3 or 4 things, and I was going to pay for it because he was too ignorant not to. But once we found a couple of things, he was like, damn, dude, like, I should probably pay for the inspection. I was like, I mean, it's on you, but yeah. Please.
Listen to your real estate agents. You know, phase 3 is really the appraisal process and lending review. After inspection, the lender orders the appraisal. It's not, most of the times you're not picking your own appraisal. They come out of a pool of appraisers, and guess what? You don't know who this person is, but they are going to appraise the house.
And so with the appraisal, there's 3 outcomes. Appraises at value, which we see a lot. It's funny how they get the exact value. I had a value at $169,500 the other day. I was like, wonder where you got that number from.
They followed you. How much was the house under contract for? I wonder
if you knew what the house was under contract for.
What was it under? $169,500? Dang.
I hadn't asked no questions.
Look, it passed. You know, some of the times you got to say, does it really go off of our number? Because I've gotten one that's like $5,000 over I'm like, look, hey guys, $5,000 worth of equity. Woohoo! Stepping in, making money.
It can come higher, like Scott just says, and that's just more of a, you dap each other up, slap hands, and say that's good, because in the bank's eyes, they're saying that you have $5,000 of value added to the house already.
And guess what? We don't tell the sellers where that
do
that
not, not at all.
No, you leave that one under wraps. Like I have one seller that says if they're going to get an appraisal and it appraises, and say we're under contract for 360, but it appraises for 390, do I get to go to the 390? I'm like, no, sorry, sir. You are under contract at where you're at. And they're not going to tell us if the appraisal is higher. They're going to be like, it appraised right. And I'm going to be like, yeah.
And I'm going to say this about appraising high. Like, it's cool to have equity, and I feel like you know if you have a deal or not.
Yeah.
But the high appraisal, it means something, but also it don't mean nothing. I tell people not to get ate up with it. Because even if it appraises at that price, if you turn around and sell it tomorrow, what's the chances you get that price is what I like to tell people. So as long as we're above or at, it's good. If you're below, though, then you got to negotiate.
If it comes in low, you're going back to negotiation. You're back at the negotiation table, and that's where things get sticky again. But if you have a great agent and they're working with a great agent, they're going to make it work.
And here's the thing. If it doesn't appraise, that means that the bank only sees, if you're buying a house for 100 and they think it only appraised for 90, well, guess what? They're not going to give you an $100K loan. They'll give you a loan for $90,000, but then you got to fit the bill for the other 10. So whether that's buyer paying out of pocket, the seller coming out of pocket, lowering the overall cost of the home, something has to give. And also, you can't just say you come to an agreement, because then they go reappraise it after y'all come to an agreement, because everything has to be.
Yeah, I mean that's where experienced agents work. That's where we make our money, because we're making the deal, we're making the transaction go to the end. Now, phase 4. You really don't have a hand in this. This is really with the closing company, the title work, insurance, surveys, underwriting. Most of the time, surveys aren't in there. Sometimes they can ask for a survey. Most of the time, they don't have a survey, but sometimes they do. Underwriting's a big thing, because you have no control over that. And as I like to say, underwriters like to screw deals up. But let's get into it. The title company works behind the scenes to check the ownership, liens, and legal items. Guess what? We talked about this a while back. Those HOA liens for not cutting the grass might be on that, and nobody knows about it, but title's going to pull them up and say, these sellers have to get these liens fixed before we get, because they don't want to give a dirty title. They're going to give a clean title to it.
Right. And so while they're searching your title and making sure the legals are clear, buyers are shopping homeowners insurance, flood, sometimes wind, hailstorm, depending where you're at. And that's more, and your mortgage person's going to be helping you shop along with. If the quotes come back high, I've started texting other insurance agents. Yep. But for the most part, if you have a good mortgage person, they'll give you almost a list of quotes and be like, hey, obviously I'm thinking about picking one of the lower ones, but this is what I've been able to come up with.
Yeah, and look, I talked about surveys. Some people might not know what a survey is. Survey confirms the boundaries and the structure. It's a good thing to have. Most people don't have them. Some people do. It just lets you know where your property line ends and where your neighbor's property line begins. Because if you want to add a driveway or want to extend the driveway, you want to make sure that you're not extending it on your neighbor's property line, because then guess what? That's your neighbor's driveway, not yours.
Right. Back to like the underwriting, some of the stuff they look at on the mortgage side of things is you're looking for the employment checks, just making sure, yes, you're verified and still work there. They're looking at your debt, DTI, debt to income ratio. Yep. And a lot of loans, it's like 33, 39%. Sometimes it's 43% DTI, but it just depends on what loan you're getting. And good mortgage people are able to not manipulate the numbers, but change your loan if necessary based off of certain criteria, so it doesn't flag the underwriters too much. Updated documents. I know you turned in documents at the very beginning to your mortgage person, but they're going to check and make sure everything's the same. And a risk assessment, just overall like history of, do you pay your bills? Did you just buy a car that you shouldn't have bought while under contract?
Yeah. I mean, look, you're working with your mortgage person. They love paperwork, but guess what? They're just trying to get the paperwork ready for you to get this house done. It's paperwork, guys. That's what, hey, I hate it as much as everybody else does, but it has to be done, and that's what they're going to do. Underwriters are there, and they love paperwork.
Absolutely. And keep this in mind as the buyer. When you're in the purchase of buying a home, the faster you can respond to getting these docs and communication, the easier the flow will be, and you'll be less stressed out because everybody else will be able to work. It's like a stream.
I mean, transparency is key. If there's an issue or a hang up, hey, just let the other agent know, look, we're working through these things. Because if you're leaving the other agent in quiet, guess what? They're probably tweaking as well. But look, segment 5, we're going to the clear to close, the walkthrough, and then closing day. We're finally getting to that point of getting the transaction done. I know Donovan and I like this one because guess what? That's when we actually get paid. We have worked through this whole thing for you, with you, and been by your side this whole time. And we're finally going to get the payment for actually being there. During this whole time, you don't pay us. Guess what? We will always work for you, but closing day is a good day for us.
Absolutely. Closing day, usually final walkthrough. Like Scott was saying, you're checking condition, you're making sure the repairs were done, and overall just prepping to maybe switch utilities over as well, starting to already get those things set up.
And what are the 3 words that we like to hear? What are the 3 words that we're just waiting to hear from the mortgage?
Big booty Latinas.
No, this is the wrong podcast.
Oh, shit. ETC, clear to close.
Clear to close.
On Big Booty Latinas.
That's where Donovan likes. You can see where his head's
Please
at.
edit this.
We're not. We're leaving it in there. But clear to close, because guess what that means? We're ready. We're just waiting on signatures. I mean, look, sometimes you might have those tears come down, but guess what? They're going to be tears of joy coming down. They're going to be them happy tears. I mean, understanding the process equals less stress. If you're less stressed in this, if you as a realtor are less stressed, then guess what? Your buyer or seller is going to be less stressed because they're reading your heart rate. They are an extension of your heart rate. That's why if you're transparent within the 2 agents are very transparent, it makes it easier. It makes it a less stressful situation.
Right. And when you understand the phases that the buyer is going through, you're able to make everything else smoother. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
You're able to make everything else smoother?
Sleepier.
Look, buyers, sellers, communication is everything. We don't just say communication is everything and it means nothing. It is everything.
So, has regular civilians work with somebody that is able to guide you through every step.
Yeah, the better
Concisely.
the agent. Yeah, the better the agent, the better process that you're going to have. Hey guys, this has been Real Talk Real Estate. Thank y'all so much for listening.
Donovan Johnson.
Scott Werner. Hey, subscribe, like, share, throw a heart, throw a thumbs up. And look, them big booty Latinas are also looking for you.
What? Oh my gosh.